begin with general anesthesia in this part of anesthesia crash course. Now, if you have watched the previous videos, I've told you that general anesthesia is a form of anesthesia in which the person is made fully unconscious. Okay. Now, before starting any anesthesia, as we know, you have to learn about or you have to know about कि उस anesthesia का indication क्या है, आप कहाँ पे उसको देते हो, कैसे देते हो, right? So, what are the indications of general anesthesia? Any laparoscopic surgery, whether it is below umbilicus or above umbilicus, you will give general anesthesia. And in all the surgeries above the umbilicus, we give general anesthesia. Clear? If you just want to revise, spinal anesthesia कब देते हैं? Any surgery below umbilicus which is short duration. Epidural anesthesia कब देते हैं? Any surgery below umbilicus which is long duration. And general anesthesia is all the surgeries above umbilicus. Second is any laparoscopic surgery. Okay. Now there are some components of general anesthesia. मतलब अगर ये चार चीज अचीव हो गया, मतलब पेशेंट को जनरल एनेस्थीसिया देना सक्सेसफुल हो गया. What are those four components? Those are amnesia, analgesia, hypnagogia and paralysis. What does this term mean? Amnesia मतलब क्या? Loss of memory. Person को कुछ याद नहीं है. Analgesia मतलब क्या? Loss of pain. Hypnagogia मतलब क्या? That the thoughts of the person are not under his control. He's been hypnotized by somebody else. And what does paralysis mean? Paralysis means inability or inability to move the body parts. ठीक है, तो ये चार components होता है general anesthesia में. Now how to achieve these components? So for achieving these components, there is not one procedure, which implies that general anesthesia cannot be achieved in one procedure. तीन चीज होता है, उसका combination होने से ही general anesthesia achieve होगा. So how to achieve these four components? Either by IV agents, that is intravenous agents, then is the inhalation agents, and then muscular relaxants. तो ये तीन combination से हम ये components को achieve कर सकते हैं. Okay. Now general anesthesia is also called as balanced anesthesia because these three constituents have to be given in a titrated form in a proper proportion or in a proper balance to get these four desired effects. ठीक है, इसीलिए हम लोग general anesthesia को balanced anesthesia भी बोलते हैं. Now we will study the stages of achieving general anesthesia. There are four stages of general anesthesia. One is the pre-oxygenation stage, second is the induction stage, third is the maintenance stage, and fourth is the recovery or the reversal stage. Now compare this with the flight of an aeroplane. तो सबसे पहले क्या होता है कि एरोप्लेन प्रिपेयर करता है फ्लाइट के लिए. सेकंड क्या होता है, वो ग्राउंड पे बहुत देर तक रन करता है, इसको हम रन बोलते हैं, रन स्टेज बोलते हैं. देन देयर इज द टेक ऑफ स्टेज. ओके, उसके बाद क्या आता है कि एरोप्लेन फ्लाइट मोड में रहता है इन द एयर. एंड लास्ट में क्या होता है, द लैंडिंग स्टेज. सो द फर्स्ट स्टेज व्हेन द एरोप्लेन इज प्रिपेयरिंग इटसेल्फ फॉर द टेक ऑफ, उसको हम बोलते हैं प्री ऑक्सीजनेशन स्टेज इन केस ऑफ जनरल एनेस्थीसिया. देन द टेक ऑफ स्टेज इज कंपेयर्ड विद द इंडक्शन स्टेज. Then the flight stage of the aeroplane is considered with the maintenance stage. And lastly, जब लैंडिंग होता है उसको हम लोग कंपेयर करते हैं recovery और reversal stage से. Okay. Now let's see इन सब phases में होता क्या है. What happens in pre-oxygenation stage? Here 100% oxygen is given to the patient for 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. What happens in the induction stage? देखो, general anesthesia में हमारा main target क्या है? We have to make the patient fully unconscious. So in the induction stage, the patient is made fully unconscious by some inducing agents. मेंटेनेंस स्टेज में क्या होता है, द पेशेंट इज मेंटेन्ड इन दिस अनकॉन्शियस स्टेट विद द हेल्प ऑफ सम मेंटेनेंस एजेंट्स, राइट. एंड रिकवरी फेज में द पर्सन को हम लोग वापस कॉन्शियस स्टेट में ले आते हैं. क्लियर? नाउ एज आई टोल्ड यू, इंडक्शन में क्या हो रहा है, पेशेंट इज मेड फुल्ली अनकॉन्शियस विद द हेल्प ऑफ सम इंड्यूसिंग एजेंट्स. सो व्हाट आर दीस इंड्यूसिंग एजेंट्स? दीज आर बेसिकली ओपियोइड्स एंड नॉन ओपियोइड्स. So the question arises when to use opioids and when to use the non-opioids as a inducing agent. तो अगर mostly आप याद रखो, non-opioids are only used as inducing agents and non-opioids में we have barbiturates and non-barbiturates. The question arises when do we use opioids? So we use opioids in those patients who have severe reduced ejection fraction. And opioids में हम लोग क्या क्या use करते हैं? Fentanyl, remifentanil and sufentanil. Sufentanil is the most potent one and remifentanil is the ultra short acting one. Okay, so we have done the inducing agents. In the induction stage, we also have to use the muscle relaxants because we have to make the muscles in the relaxed state. Only then you can make the person unconscious. So how will you relax the muscle? With the help of muscle relaxants. And lastly, intubation आता है और ventilation आता है. So induction itself has three components. One, to make the patient fully unconscious by some inducing agents, to relax the muscles with the help of muscle relaxants, and to intubate and ventilate the patient. Now what happens in the maintenance stage? Maintenance stage में यही तीन stages को हम लोग को maintain करना है. मतलब patient को जो unconscious state है उसको maintain करके रखना है with the help of inhalation agents. जो muscles को हमने relax किया है उसको relax state में maintain करके रखना है with the help of long acting muscle relaxants. And you have to keep the patient in a ventilated and intubated state. Okay. Now come to recovery. रिकवरी मतलब क्या, जो मसल्स रिलैक्स था उसको मसल्स को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करवाना है, जो पेशेंट अनकॉन्शियस था उसको कॉन्शियस स्टेट में लेके आना है, एंड जो पेशेंट इंट्यूबेटेड था उसको एक्सट्यूबेट करना है. दिस कम्स इन रिकवरी और रिवर्सल. वन थिंग यू हैव टू नो हियर, हाउ विल यू कॉन्ट्रैक्ट द मसल? विद द हेल्प ऑफ मसल कॉन्ट्रैक्टेंट्स. व्हाट आर दीस? दीस आर pyridostigmine, neostigmine, etrophonium. Okay. Now in the reversal stage, how will you understand that the patient is actually recovered or reversed? So there are some tests that are done. One is the clinical test or the bedside test, which is called as head lift test. So if the patient is able to lift his head for more than 5 seconds, मतलब patient अब normal state में आ चुका है. The patient is not under general anesthesia anymore. And the second test that we do is the train of 4 test, which should be more than 0.9. What is train of 4 ratio or train of 4 test? So basically, we will have to see the twitch height of the fourth response and the twitch height of the first response. उसका एक ratio निकालना पड़ता है. So if the twitch height of the fourth response is 90% of the twitch height of the first response, which means that the train of 4 ratio is more than 0.9, and this is a clinical test to prove that the patient has been recovered from general anesthesia. Okay, now we will see the induction agents in bit more detail. I told you there are two kinds of induction agents. One is the opioids and one is the non-opioids. Opioids are usually not used, and just 3 examples were given: sufentanil, remifentanil, and fentanyl. Now we have to study the non-opioids in a bit detail. In non-opioids, we have 2 categories: barbiturates and non-barbiturates. Under barbiturates, we have sodium thiopenton and methohexidol. And under non-barbiturates, we have propofol, etomidate, and ketamine. Now we have to remember certain points about these non-opioids which are used as induction agents. Now, let's begin with sodium thiopenton, which is a barbiturate. Okay. Mainly, the things that we have to study under these is the chemical form of these substances, the mechanism of action of these substances, the systemic effects that they produce, and some side effects, and 1 or 2 extra points. So, the sodium thiopenton, which is a barbiturate, is available in the yellow amorphous powder form. Okay, and it is ultra short acting. Why it is ultra short acting? Because of its rapid redistribution. Now, one more thing you have to know, that sodium thiopenton, propofol, and etomidate, these three are GABA receptor blocker, and only the ketamine is the NMDA receptor blocker. Okay, so sodium thiopenton is the GABA receptor blocker. And we should remember that we should never mix sodium thiopenton with ringer lactate. So what are the 4 points that you have to remember? First, it is available in the form of yellow amorphous powder. It is ultra short acting. It is a GABA receptor blocker, and it can never be mixed with with ringer lactate. Now we will study the systemic effects of sodium thiopenton. Remember that sodium thiopenton is CNS best friend, but it is enemy to all other systems. What does this line mean? कि अगर CNS का कोई भी problem आएगा, that will be helpful, but other systems में it will cause side effects. So if it is CNS best friend, what does it do? It will decrease the intracranial pressure, which means that you can induce it intravenously. It is used as anti-epileptic because epilepsy occurs due to the complex activities in the brain. तो क्योंकि brain का best friend है, इसीलिए anti-epileptic में use होता है, and it is also used in narco-analysis. Okay. Now I told you it is the enemy of other systems. So what are the side effects it causes of other systems? In CVS, it will decrease the blood pressure and increase the heart rate. So it can never be given in patients who are in shock and who have coronary artery disease. In muscles, it produces no effect. In respiratory system, it causes bronchoconstriction. So it should never be given in patients with bronchial asthma. And pain में क्या करता है? It has no analgesic effect also. Okay? So enemy to other systems, best friend of CNS. Let's study about the second non-opioid which is used as induction agents, that is propofol. Now, propofol is available in the milky white form. Like sodium thiopenton is available in the yellow amorphous powder form, propofol is available in milky white form. Now, the T-half is less than 2 hours. And as I told you, it is also a GABA receptor blocker. Now, let's study the systemic effects of propofol. Next up, we study the systemic effects of propofol. Now, remember that propofol is just like sodium thiopenton in many aspects, but there are a few differences also. What is the similarity? The similarity is that propofol is also the friend of CNS and the enemy to other systems, but there are other dissimilarities as well. So let's focus on the dissimilarities. First, propofol decreases blood pressure and decreases heart rate, whereas sodium thiopenton was decreasing blood pressure but increasing heart rate. So it was not allowed in shock. Okay, now propofol is the IV induction of choice in various conditions, and you have to memorize these conditions. It is IV induction of choice in case of malignant hyperthermia. Now just a quick revision, guys. Which local anesthesia to be precise, was used in case of malignant hyperthermia? Yes guys, Procaine. And which local anesthesia was not allowed or was causing malignant hyperthermia? Yes, Lignocaine. Very good. Now IV induction of choice in case of malignant hyperthermia, in daycare surgeries, in acute intermittent porphyria, in laryngeal mask insertion, in total intravenous anesthesia, and in liver surgeries, in liver disorders. These are the conditions in which propofol is used as the IV induction of choice. Now, one reason is that T-half of propofol, I told you, is less than 2 hours. So it is a rapid onset of action, hence it is used in daycare surgeries. Now, it also has anti-emetic properties. अब किसी का इतना सारा good effects है तो कुछ side effects भी होगा. So these are the 3 side effects of propofol. It can cause cardiomyopathy, it can cause metabolic acidosis, and it can cause green color of the urine. Next, we move to the etomide. Now, etomidate is a derivative of imidazole. Okay, it causes adrenaline suppression. And I told you it is also GABA receptor blocker. And just remember one thing: it is most cardiostable. Other 3 non-opioids have some effect on BP and heart rate, but etomidate doesn't have any effect. Lastly, we have to study about ketamine, that is a non-barbiturate which is used as a non-opioid, that it increases blood pressure and it increases heart rate. Sodium thiopenton decreases blood pressure, increase heart rate. Propofol decreases both, ketamine increases both. And one difference of ketamine from other three is that it is an NMDA blocker. Now we'll study the systemic effects of ketamine, which can be remembered by the mnemonic ketamine itself. Now, K. So K for kids. So ketamine is the IV induction of choice in case of kids. Okay? Because normally we don't give induction agents in kids, but if we have to give one, we give ketamine. Okay? Next is E. So remember that it is the enemy of the CNS. It is the enemy of the CNS. Next, from ketamine you have to remember A. Nothing from T. Just remember A. A for analgesic property. Ketamine has analgesic property. And A for asthma. So you can give ketamine in asthma. Next is M. So it is a friend of muscle. Okay. Next is I. It increases various pressures. I for increase. Like it increases the ICP of CNS. It increases the IOP. So just because it increases the intracranial pressure, it is avoided in head injury and neurosurgery. Just because it increases the intraocular pressure, it is contraindicated in glaucoma. So I done. N is neural. In what do you have to remember in neural? That it causes hallucinations. So it is contraindicated in the schizophrenic patients. And just remember three more things. That it is the IV induction of choice in case of shock and CHD. Okay? But not IHD. Just shock and CHD. Now, the last non-opioid which was left, that was methotrexate. Here you have to just remember that it is used in electroconvulsive therapy. Okay, methotrexate is used in electroconvulsive therapy. Now, as induction agents are done, we move on to the second component of the general anesthesia, that is muscle relaxants. Muscle relaxants on the basis of the mechanism of actions. That is non-depolarizing and depolarizing. And we have to study them in a bit of details. But one thing that they have to remember, that both these muscle relaxants, whether it is non-depolarizing or depolarizing, will act on the NM receptors, that is the nicotinic receptors at the neuromuscular junction. Let's begin with depolarizing muscle relaxants. Chemically, there are two types, steroidal and benzyl. Let's begin with depolarizing muscle relaxants, and these are basically the type of cholines. And mostly you must have heard about succinylcholine. And non-depolarizing are chemically of two types, that is steroidal and benzyl isoquinolinum. Now, how will you remember the examples? The steroidal groups of non-depolarizing ends with curonium, and the benzyl isoquinolinum ends with curium. So let's see the examples. Pancuronium, vecuronium, rucuronium. As it is ending with curonium, they are the steroidal group of non-depolarizing muscle relaxants. Some points that you have to remember, that pancuronium is the second longest acting muscle relaxant, and the time duration for which it acts is 90 to 120 minutes. Okay, let's come to benzyl isoquinolinum. This ends with the word curium. So etracurium, cisetracurium, mevacurium and doxacurium are some of the examples. Now here, the longest acting is doxacurium, and it is also the longest acting muscle relaxant anyway, which is more than 120 minutes of time. Now etracurium, you just have to remember one word or one point about it, that it undergoes Hoffman degradation. So its side effect is it causes histamine release and allergy. Now cisetracurium is just the advanced form of atracurium, and this is the muscle relaxant of choice in liver and kidney failure. And as we talked about the longest acting muscle relaxant, we have to know about the shortest acting. So mevacurium is the shortest acting and doxacurium is the longest acting. Now, the first introduced muscle relaxant was decuborate, but the side effect of this muscle relaxant was that it severely decreases the blood pressure. Now, as we read about the points of curium group of drugs, we have to know about the points about the pancuronium group of drugs. So pan matlab kya? Pan matlab whole, or pan is something which includes everything. So you remember that it causes changes in everything related to CVS. So it increases the BP and it increases the heart rate. Okay, and this is the muscle relaxant of choice in case of shock. Now, if you remember, what was the induction agent of choice in case of shock? Induction agent of choice, yes, it was ketamine. And you should remember that sodium thiopental was never given in shock, right? Here, pancuronium is the muscle relaxant in case of shock. But the problem of pancuronium is that its recovery is delayed and its renal excretion is maximum. So it is contraindicated in renal failure. What about the points of vancuronium? Say V is like this, so you make a heart. So what does it imply? That it is cardiostable muscle relaxant. Which was the cardiostable induction agent? Yes, etomidate. So you can use this in cardiac patients. And the problem is that it is having biliary excretion, so it is contraindicated in jaundice. Now, rocuronium, just remember the word rock star. So rockstar frequently changes their concert. One point of time they're at one concert, another point they're another concert. So it frequently changes its actions. It is faster acting. But remember that it causes pain on injection. Okay. And as rocuronium sachets are, we just have to remember that it is having rapid sequence induction. Clear? Now you have to know that which muscle relaxants cause allergic reaction or will cause histamine release. So I told you one drug, that was atracurium. You can remember the mnemonic DMSA, decubur, mevacurium, ceholene and atracurium. These are causing histaminic release, so they are contraindicated in allergy. Clear? Now we will come to the mechanism of action of the non-depolarizing muscle relaxants. So this is a nerve, this is a muscle. Muscle is having the nicotinic receptors, and these are the acetylcholine molecules, and these are the non-depolarizing muscle relaxant. This is acetylcholine, this is the non-depolarizing muscle relaxant. Now these non-depolarizing muscle relaxant do not allow the acetylcholine to bind to the nicotinic receptors. So what will happen? No action potential is generated in the muscle, no impulse conduction, and thus diminished activity. As simple as that. So first there is high muscle contraction, then slowly it decreases, gradually decreases, because these are competing with the acetylcholine and prevents their binding to the nicotinic receptors, hence no action potential. In case of depolarizing muscle relaxant, the one example that you should remember by heart is succinylcholine. Okay, and it is the shortest and the fastest acting muscle relaxant overall. Why shortest acting? Because 3 to 8 minutes. It takes only 3 to 8 minutes to show its action, and it is the fastest. Shortest acting because its action is only for 3 to 8 minutes, and fastest acting because it takes very short amount of time to show its action, that is 30 to 45 seconds. Now succinylcholine is also called as suxamethonium. Okay. One more thing, that why it is the fastest acting, because it is metabolized in plasma by the plasma cholinesterase. That is why it is fastest acting. Now, if succinylcholine is absent, then this is called as scolopenia, and this is detected by the Dubekane number test. Dubekane, what is Dubekane? This is a local anesthetic, right? So basically, this Dubekane will detect the presence of atypical pseudocholinesterase. Now, if you want a video about the Dubekane number test, I will make a separate video, which just for here, you remember that if succinylcholine is absent, it causes scolopenia, and this can be detected by Dubekane number test. Now, what is the mechanism of action of succinylcholine? So basically, there are two phases by which they act. First phase involves the depolarization, and then is the hyperpolarization, and the phase 2 involves the non-depolarization and the muscle relaxant. So basically, what happens, that succinylcholine is very much similar to acetylcholine in structure. So the succinylcholine binds to the nicotinic receptors at the neuromuscular junction, and the acetylcholine do not bind. Now succinylcholine binds, it will generate the action potential, so it is causing the depolarization. But as I told you, that succinylcholine is broken down or metabolized by the pseudocholinesterase and not the acetylcholinesterase, so it remains bounded to the nicotinic receptors of the neuromuscular junction. So instead of causing from depolarization to non-depolarization, it causes hyperpolarization. कुछ ज़्यादा ही देर तक वो muscle contracted stage में रह गया. ये देखो, like this one. After that, slowly, what will happen? Again, the muscle will come back to its normal state. That is, non-depolarization will occur, and finally muscle will relax. So this phase is a normal thing, but this is not a normal thing. So in phase 1, when depolarization and hyperpolarization is occurring, fasciculations will also occur, and muscle paralysis can also occur. ठीक है, मतलब पहले गड़बड़ होता है, फिर ठीक हो जाता है. Now the side effects of succinylcholine is very important. As I told you, in first case there are fasciculations, so this will cause muscle soreness, myalgia, and paralysis. Now there is a hyperpolarization state, मतलब potassium channels बहुत देर तक खुला हुआ है, so it will cause hyperkalemia. Now it increases two kind of pressure, that is ICP and blood pressure, intracranial pressure and blood pressure, and also it causes malignant hyperthermia. Okay. Now malignant hyperthermia ऐसा क्यों हो जाता है? Because there is a mutation in the ryanodine receptor, that is RYR1. Okay, so what happens? More calcium comes in the muscle, और इसीलिए बहुत देर तक contracted phase में रहता है muscle. Okay, so this was about the non-depolarizing muscle relaxant. Lastly, the third component of the general anesthesia is the inhalation agent. First was the induction agent, second was the muscle relaxant, and third is the inhalation agent. Now, what is the use of the inhalation agent? In adults, it is used for the maintenance of anesthesia, okay? But in case of children, it is used as induction purpose only. Because in induction purpose, the only inducing agent in case of children was ketamine, okay? Now, what is the principle behind this inhalation agent? So just two principles. One is the MAC, that is minimum alveolar concentration, and the second is the blood gas partition coefficient. Let's see one by one in details. What is MAC? MAC, that is minimum alveolar concentration. It is that concentration of the inhalation agent to produce no response to painful stimuli in at least 50% of the patients. मतलब आप inhalation agent दिए, वो concentration of inhalation agent that will cause no response to painful stimuli in 50% of the patient, that is called as MAC. So basically MAC will indicate the potency of the inhalation agent, but it is also inversely proportional. मतलब क्या कि अगर MAC ज़्यादा है, मतलब क्या कि ज्यादा अमाउंट ऑफ ड्रग लग रहा है एक डिजायर इफेक्ट को प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए, मतलब क्या कि पोटेंसी जो है वो कम हो गया. दैट इज व्हाई इट इज इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल. सो इफ वी सी द ऑर्डर फ्रॉम लो MAC टू हाई MHC, दिस इज गिवन बाय द mnemonic MHISD, MHISD, which means that high MAC D वाला ड्रग that is the least potent, low MAC that is M वाला ड्रग that is the most potent. M में है methyl fluorine, H is halothane, I is isoflurane, S is sevoflurane and D is desflurane. और ये इन लोगों का MAC दिया हुआ है बगल में. Don't have to remember the exact values, just remember इसका 0.16 that is the lowest and desflurane का 6 that is the highest. मतलब methoxyflurane is the most potent inhalation agent and desflurane is the least potent inhalation agent when we compare on the basis of MAC. Now the second thing is blood gas partition coefficient. What does it tell us? It tells us about the onset and the recovery. तो ये ऑनसेट स्लो ऑनसेट हो सकता है, स्पीड ऑनसेट हो सकता है, रिकवरी स्लो रिकवरी हो सकता है, फास्ट रिकवरी हो सकता है. सो इट टेल्स अस अबाउट द ऑनसेट एंड द रिकवरी. Here the mnemonic is XDHI DSIHM. So just reverse this. You will get the order for blood gas partition coefficient. Now here methoxyfluorine was having the low MHC, but here methoxyfluorine will have the highest blood gas coefficient partition coefficient. Now we have to understand what is the significance. So if the blood gas partition coefficient is low, which means that less amount of inhalation agent is in blood and most of them is in CNS, which implies that such agents will have a speed onset and speed recovery. On the other hand, methoxyfluorine, which is having the highest blood gas partition coefficient, means it is more in blood and low in CNS, so it will have a slow onset and slow recovery. Clear? So just opposite is the case. If MAC is low, BG partition coefficient is high. If MAC is high, BG partition coefficient is low. Now here one more inhalation agent is added, that is xenon, which is a noble gas, you all know, and that is having the lowest blood gas partition coefficient. So what you have to derive from this point? That xenon, the lowest blood gas coefficient partition, will have the speed onset, speed recovery. Methoxyfluorine, which is having the highest blood gas partition coefficient, will have the slowest onset, slowest recovery. Clear? Now, let's come to the systemic effects of these inhalation agent in 1 or 2 lines if you have to remember. Then just remember that isoflurane is used in any disorder in case of CNS and CVS, and halothane is used in any disorder in case of respiratory and muscular system. Okay, and there are 2 inhalation agents which are having analgesic effect, that is N2O and trilene. Now we'll discuss one of them one by one, the inhalation agent in details. Now halothane starts with H, so you have to remember that there are 4 H which is associated with halothane, and these are MCQ points. First, it causes malignant hyperthermia. Malignant hyperthermia. Now this is your task, guys, that whenever in the anesthesia I have used the concept of malignant hyperthermia, you have to tell me. So basically I used it in case of Procaine, which was used as a safe local anesthetic in malignant hyperthermia. I talked about lignocaine, which was causing malignant hyperthermia. I also talked about succinylcholine, which also causes malignant hyperthermia as a side effect. And lastly, the inhalation agent like halothane, which causes maximum malignant hyperthermia. Very good. Now heart disease. It is contraindicated in heart disease. Why? Because it can cause arrhythmias and it will decrease the blood pressure, decrease the heart rate. So it is contraindicated in heart disease. Third, it will cause halothane-induced hepatitis. And fourth, it has maximum 3H. What are the maximum 3H? It is having the maximum potency. It is having the maximum bronchodilation, and it is having the maximum muscle relaxation and maximum metabolism in liver. So basically 7 points that you remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now come to isoflurane. Isoflurane is the most common inhalation agent. Just now I told you in CNS and CVS disorders, and it causes a side effect that is called as coronary steal phenomenon. Now come to desflurane. Desflurane is most potent for the cardiac patients. Okay. But it is having 2 disadvantages. First, it is costly, and second, it is an airway irritant. So although it is the most potent, it is not used in cardiac patients always. I told you CVS, isoflurane is used. And it is least metabolized inhalation agent in liver. So you can safely use this in liver failure. Now, sevoflurane. Again, you have to remember many points about sevoflurane, that it is used as the induction purpose in case of children. Why? Because S for sevoflurane, S for sweet. It is having a sweet odor. Second, remember that sevoflurane and soda lime, if found in closed chamber, then this produces a compound called as olefin or compound A, and that is a nephrotoxic compound. So don't use sevoflurane and soda lime in a closed chamber. Third, sevoflurane is used in case of daycare surgeries. Okay, because it is having speed onset and speed recovery. And lastly, it is used, as I told you, that it is having least airway resistance, so it is used in bronchial asthma. Now, you will question that halothane is having maximum bronchodilation, so that should be used in bronchial asthma. Yes, that should be used. But as sevoflurane is having sevoflurane is decreasing the airway resistance, so it is more potent in case of bronchial asthma. Now, N2O. I told you one point about N2O, that it is having analgesic effects. Let's see the other points. So, N for N2O, nitrous oxide, N for Neil. So, N2O is stored in the blue line colored chambers. It is having analgesic effect. Remember that N2O is never used in pregnancy because it can cause bone marrow deformities. And you should never give N2O in closed loop surgeries like small bowel obstruction. Now, N2O causes certain side effects, like it causes second gas effect. Although this is not a side effect, this is a good thing, that if you combine N2O with some other inhalation agent, then it will increase the concentration of other inhalation agent. And this is mainly done with N2O and halothane to increase the concentration of halothane. Now, it causes diffusion hypoxia after surgery. So, basically, you stop halothane, you stop N2O, continue with oxygen. If you see that the oxygen is decreasing, the SpO2 is decreasing, you give 100% oxygen to the patient. Why does oxygen decrease? Because N2O is said to cause diffusion hypoxia after surgery. So this was all about general anesthesia. We discussed that general anesthesia is when the patient is made fully unconscious. There are 4 components of general anesthesia: amnesia, analgesia, hypnosis, paralysis. There are 3 constituents, that is inhalation agent, induction agent, and muscle relaxants. We compared the action of general anesthesia with the flight of an aeroplane when there is pre-oxygenation, induction, maintenance, and recovery or reversal. And then we discussed each of the constituent, that is the induction agent, the muscle relaxant, and the inhalation agent in details. This was all about general anesthesia. Important points covered from MCQs, NEET PG, INICET point of view. Thank you so much. Revise all of them. Happy learning.